Hey everyone, I'm Jen and welcome to my channel. I'm in long-term recovery. I'm also a CARC, SERPA, rape crisis counselor, founder of Supplies for Life. I'm a harm reductionist. I'm a syringe peer. Whole lot of other things that if you check out my about section down below, you will find out. And just welcome. How is everybody? So, a lot of crazy things going on lately. A lot of things in society shifting and changing. As you all know, I've been extremely vocal about, and I will continue to do so because I am an advocate in my soul and in my blood, and I will always advocate for what is right. I will speak up against what is wrong, and I will always be the voice of those who do not have one. So that being said, sometimes when everything is super stressful like this in the world, we tend to have patterns in our lives disrupted, or things we get really harsh, sleeping gets affected, eating gets affected, things like that, right? So what I'm going to talk to you guys today about is using dreams. I had planned to talk to you guys about this anyway, but due to the recent events of the world, I feel like now is really a great time to talk about it. Using dreams occur very, very often, or not at all, right? I feel like there's no happy medium with them. I feel like when we are struggling when we are at a crossroads and we are either coming to the end of our active cycle, hopefully for forever, but sometimes just for right now, or we are to a point where we're very stable-ish. And I say that, I know that sounds very stable-ish, right? Like kind of like an oxymoron, but it is. We are getting to the stabler part of our path, our recovery, whatever it looks like, ish. Because we're never 100% stable. Rent is due every fucking day. And every day you have to make up and make a decision to pay your dues that day. And if you don't, that's when the darkness gets in. And that's when we end up back in a lapse and back in active use. / reusing dreams. I'm trying to get out of the habit of saying relapse because I feel like it just has such a negative tone to it. So I am trying to self-learn how to use other phrases and words because, as I always say, language is super important, right? So when you're ready for a change, lots of things happen. You don't just wake up one day and say, hey, I'm ready to not use anymore and I want to continue down a different path in my life. It's a process. Like literally, it's a fucking process. Process mentally, physically, emotionally. It's a whole gamut. I don't know what I did with my water thing, so here we are today. Drink water, people. Everybody drink water, right? I try not just to preach it, try and live it too. Anyway, so when we're ready for a change, what happens? We go through this whole process and we just get sick and tired of being sick and tired. And we decide that we're going to do something different and we're going to do something new. Even though it's really not new, it feels like it's new. So we say, I'm just not going to use just for today. Hopefully it's not a forced, I'm not going to use for today. And we go through the day, and sometimes we are very sick. Sometimes we are blessed enough to have a support system and have medically assisted treatment, so we don't have to get to that point. But I know for me, every time I've ever tried to, the first week or 2 weeks of me getting not using, I've always had using dreams, and they are super scary because they seem very, very real. And we wake up from them and we either then begin to have cravings or we're very, very scared. You wake up, you can't breathe, you're sweating, and it feels really real. Sometimes you can smell it, sometimes you can taste it. It's a horrible thing to go through. And on the flip side, sometimes when we are into our, the middle or not the very beginning of our path, this will happen. I'm going to have 5 years from all illegal substances October 27th of this year by the grace of my God. Now I'm almost 5 years into it, and about a month ago I started having some using dreams. So I've never really had them before. Sprinkle here and there in the past. Nothing to the degree of what I started having them about a month ago. I really think that is because I'm decently far into my path now, and these were different types of using dreams for me. They weren't where I was craving something or I wanted to use or whatever the case may be. This was a situation, and when I came into the dream, I'd already had items in my hand and I was surrounded by people who are using, which is not foreign for me at all. That's like my daily lifestyle. But this time I was participating and I was completely disgusted. And I remember coming into the dream and the first thing I thought was, what the fuck? Like this, no, I don't want to do this. But I couldn't not in the dream. It was very bizarre, and it was not something that I was very happy about. And it was just a really, really weird sensation for me. And I remember when I woke up, I was immediately pissed off in a bad mood. And Jared was like, what's your deal? And I was like, I just keep having these bad dreams and I don't understand why. And I only said bad dreams. I didn't say what first. And then Jared that night said, I had the most bizarre dream. He was like, I was smoking meth. He was like, and I can fucking smell it. He was like, and it grossed me out and I couldn't go back to sleep for the rest of the night. And I was like, it's so bizarre that you said that, because that just happened to me the other night too. I said, except it was a little bit different, but I was surrounded and I was participating in it. It really bothered me. So then I thought to myself, well, if one of my clients came to me and said, I'm having these really, really bizarre, strong using dreams, I don't feel like I want to use, but I don't understand the significance of it, what would I say to them? And my first instinct would be, okay, I'm glad you're telling me about it, right? Because if this is a sign of potential usage, at least we're talking about it. It's out on the table. You've told me, and you are bringing light to it. It's no longer in the dark because you're acknowledging it and you're recognizing it. And then on top of that, when we speak about things, it gives us a way to cope with things and a way to deal with things. Oh my goodness gracious. This is Pumpkin, everybody. She just moved in. She just got spayed, so I don't want to carry her like that. This is Bella's new baby. This is the Pumpkin. I don't know if you guys can see her. She's super cute. And she's a girl. Orange cats are usually not girls. Okay, go down softly. Okay. So, the fact that we were talking about it and it was recognized, and when we talk about something, it gives us a way to cope with things and a way to deal with things instead of just ignoring them until they are too big, too heavy, and we can't ignore them anymore. And then we can't even carry them, right? And then I was like, let me ask some other people in the field what their recommendations are, what they think, what they feel. And I had a bunch of open conversations, and, it's kind of fitting. So for me, what was the biggest changing point in my life ever? My biggest changing point in my life was my discontinue of using drugs, right? And that was when I was ready for a major change in my life. And I truly feel like sometimes using dreams are to remind you of what was and what you no longer want. So for me, it gave me a very big look back into my past of where I was and what I never want to be again. And I had like three dreams. And the last one, for some reason in my dream, I was strong enough and I was like, no, I don't want to fucking do this. This is gross. And I remember like literally I was mad, and I woke up and I felt relief that I did this. And it just goes to show that sometimes we're ready for changes. And even when we get past that initial first change of walking onto our new path, sometimes we need to remember where we came from and what it was like to continue us on that path, right? And I feel like I recently have had a lot of things happen in my life. Some that I will share with you in the next few videos about personally, where I have been and what has been going on with a couple of things. And these were major things that happened. So I guess maybe I just needed to revisit and re-solidify the fact that I'm on the path that I'm supposed to be on. And moving forward, I needed that quick glimpse back. Just a quick glimpse, not move back in, not unpack, not go back. Just a reminder of like, bitch, this is what it was like. Keep your ass going forward because we never want to be there again. And I think sometimes we all need that. Sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit for as far as we come. And this journey is a journey. Like, there are times you're walking, there are times you're crawling, there are times you're clawing along, but you're always moving forward, always staying in the right lane, moving forward. And I think sometimes we need to see that it's not all been for nothing. And when we look back and we have using dreams and we remember what it was like, and this was not a glamorizing using dream. This was not a I miss you using dream. This is what it would be like right now. Dark room, faces you really don't recognize, doing something that you inherently know is not for you. And it made me realize how far my path has taken me over the last 5 years. I mean, my path has taken me miles and miles and miles. And sometimes I need to remember that. Sometimes I too put too much pressure on myself and forget that I am a woman in recovery and that I cannot fix a societal problem, and let alone by myself. And that's difficult for me because I feel like I know what needs to be fixed. And sometimes people don't listen to me. And I get very frustrated because I genuinely know if we had more access to healthcare, more access to mental health care, more housing, more food, yada, 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 these are the foundations that people get better on. And we don't have that here. And then I take that as I'm failing. And sometimes I need to look back and realize that I am far from failing. I just have a lot more to go. So when we have using dreams, we can take them one or two ways. Oh, fuck, I'm about to go backwards and reuse again. And sometimes it is just that. And other times it's like, hey, look how far you've come. That was your life. Now this is your life, right? It's not always all negative. It's not always all we're failing or we're in a bad spot or we're doing badly. Sometimes it just is what it is and it's just a dream. Sometimes it's a signal, but sometimes it's not. And I know that makes it even more difficult, but I want people to realize that just because you have this dream, I don't want you to psych yourself out and be like, oh my God, I'm about to pick up again. The world is going to end. What I want you to do when you have these dreams, talk about it. That is the biggest possible way that you can help yourself to figure out really what's going on. Sit down, call someone, chat with someone, figure out, hey, listen, this happened. What's your take on it? What do you think? Well, how do you think about that? Well, this made me feel this way. And then you get a handle on it and it's not controlling you and it's not eating at you because you're worried about what it means. You're saying, hey, this happened and I'm confused by it and I don't understand what this means. Do you? Can you help me understand this better? And then you're not carrying, you've lightened the load. You're not carrying this burden by yourself. And I just think that is the best way moving forward to deal with using dreams. Like if you don't have anyone that you trust, post in the Gen Cutting community on Facebook, post in there and say, hey, listen, this happened. Has anyone else had any using dreams? That's what that community is about. We support one another, right? And I just think that instead of us immediately thinking that this is negative and that we're headed down a bad path, maybe it's just a way of our intuition saying like, hey, look how far you've come. Talk about it. Talk about how far you've come. Talk about what this makes you feel like. Like for me, it was a chance for me to look back and see and feel accomplished. I hope you guys all enjoyed today's video. And remember, we recover loudly, so those behind us do not suffer in silence. Bye, guys.